How much money did you lose?
I made money. Because the thing is, we were looking at our predictions last week.
Yeah.
And I did say Rosenstrike, and we did say Diaz, but I didn't have enough faith in either of them to beat.
Me too. I was pretty confident when I said, Diaz, and then just before the event started, I was also like,
yeah, it was a bit touch and go.
So I think people are going to be mad at me as well because I changed my prediction. But we still won some money. So yeah.
Volkanovski versus Ortega, though, what a fight.
What a fight,
Goodness
yeah. That's also one I changed last minute. And I'm happy I did, but watching the fight, it was very impressive. And I grew to become a bigger fan of both of them.
Yes.
Like Brian Ortega just showed a lot of heart in that fight. It was insane. It was
Brian
such
Ortega
a
in the
crazy
championship
fight.
rounds, that just showed like the man's character, the man's heart. Like he's a fighter, and he deserves all the respect in the world for going out and competing with Volkanovski like that.
And just Volkanovski's, he had some. They were like moments.
Touch and go moments.
Oh yes. Okay, he's gonna get finished. So there was adversity there as well, and that was awesome to see him. Like that guillotine was that was deep. So
I was more worried about the triangle as well because he was on the right side. He was grabbing the leg. I thought, Mexican ground karate from coming in clutch there.
Yeah, no. So, but well done to Volkanovski in his camp.
Beautiful.
It was actually a very good fight card. UFC 266.
It definitely was.
It was so fun to watch. And we called it. Andrade got the finish. Blades.
You got Blades.
I got Blades.
Diaz versus Lawler. Okay.
It was a bit disappointing though. It
was less of a war than I expected it to be.
Their output was a lot, but it looked just kind of sloppy. The whole experience. But it was fun to see them fight again, and I think the crowd loved it. I think if you were there live and you're watching that fight, I think it's
you're
just
loving
it. Let's go. So that was really.
And then Shevchenko just
man
domination as usual.
She just looks like a person. It sucks to fight her. Like everything hurts. Like even if you kick her or punch her, it just looks like everything hurts. I wouldn't want to fight.
Where are the holes in her game? What do you do against Shevchenko? You just go in there. You try and strike with her. She's gonna kick your head off. You try and go to the ground with her. She's a better wrestler than you.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. No, it's very hard to. Like if you're a matchmaker as well, what do you do? Who do you give her? But well done to her. What a finish.
Absolutely.
I actually then made a exotic bet on her as well to finish the fight. And I'm not gonna lie, her opponent was so tough.
Lauren Murphy.
Yeah,
tough
Murphy was
girl.
so tough.
girl.
And then when it went into the fourth round, I'm like, Valentina, like, do me a favor and just kick her head. So, but what a fight it was, and what a way to finish off the week. It was such a cool.
Can't wait for if Holloway just needs to get past Yair Rodriguez now, and then we're gonna see Volkanovski Holloway 3.
Yes,
and I think that's gonna be a banger.
I think Max Holloway is gonna beat the shit out of Volkanovski. Like Volkanovski is very good, but I think he exposed himself in the stand-up a lot in this fight. He went every single time Brian Ortega tags him, he goes out with his chin up, he breaks his base, his fighting stance. So it's a hard thing, Ortega gave him a good fight. How well has Max improved?
Yes, absolutely.
Since they fought last.
And my biggest question going into that is Max going to be as threatened by the takedown as he was in the other fights? Because he was like, obviously, if someone's a better wrestler than you and you don't really want to engage, and are we going to see that change in the next fight? I don't know. Yeah. Very excited. Just get past Rodriguez first.
And that's also not a easy thing to do.
It's not something you can look past.
Yeah, he's very talented and he's unorthodox and he has weird stand-up, and I think that's going to be an awesome fight.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
I'm excited for that fight. But what a week it was, Beautiful. We got the news, our good heavyweight friend, John Jones, got arrested.
International Criminal Week.
Yes, and I also told you, like, last week, I don't think Gane is going to be champion for long.
Yeah. The thing is, it depends.
It might change. So...
Hey, Gant's going to be champ at least until Jones gets out of prison one day.
I think just Dana White is like a disappointed father. He's like,
absolutely.
He's just
like John Jones is very, very talented.
Yeah.
He's obviously an amazing fighter, one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
But I think Dana has to start thinking: is this man good for the sport?
Yeah.
Like,
but
the
we know
image that
exactly
he's
what
out there.
happened. We know he got arrested, but do you know anything deeper about it? Because I don't. I just saw he got arrested.
I know the charges.
Yeah.
One of the charges was like battery.
Yeah.
So that's like domestic violence.
Okay.
And the other one is damage to a motor vehicle.
So with a motor vehicle.
Or with a motor vehicle
Okay.
or something. I don't know if it was what happened there, but it doesn't sound great. No,
yeah.
it sounds really, really bad. Like, I can understand someone. Okay, Dylan Dennis got arrested for a more.
Okay, let's talk about Dylan Dennis. Like, he is the best grappler in the world if he's not fighting the police.
Absolutely. I mean, Gordon Ryan versus Dylan Dennis. Who doesn't want to see that match?
It's crazy that he got choked. Well, did he get choked out? Did he pass out?
No. He just got choked. No, he was just held in the rear naked choke, and you can just see. We'll put the video up. You can just see Dylan tackling. It's like, dude, it's a policeman. He's not.
Ain't no rules in the streets. Okay, well,
but he was apparently a little bit peeved that the officer had no idea who he was. He was just like, yes, who's this asshole?
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows you can be one of the best grapplers in the world. Then you can get drunk or high. I don't know. It looks like I saw his mug shots, and my first impression was he's on some other drug.
Yes, he was looking high.
Yes,
was looking very, very high.
High Dillian Dennis loses 90% of the time, but if he's sober, I think he gets it done.
Put that up to the mythical fighter list. Rematch Robbie Lawler, Paul Volkanovski, sober Dylan Dennis.
Most definitely.
Mythical fighters. So I've got a few hot takes that I just want to run past you. Just see where you stand on them. Okay.
These are Reddit hot
These
takes.
are hot takes from Reddit. Absolutely. The first one I know you're gonna disagree with. The Venom shorts look fucking stupid.
No, no. I think they look cool. Like, I'm wearing a Venom shirt right now. I'm a massive fan of the new deal the UFC signed. My first impression was, okay, it's weird with all the lines, but I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, then I have another one.
How many upvotes did that hot take get?
I think this one got like 100. So people agree with it.
Yeah, okay.
People don't like the Venom shorts. I don't know what's...
I'm a fan. Do you like them?
I love them.
I have a pair of them. Like, I got.
Yeah, they're obviously going to be a fan.
I love them. I'm a massive fan.
Okay, this one says welterweight has gone to shit mainly because Usman is so dominant and because everyone is deathly afraid of fighting someone behind them.
Well, that's in some ways that's true, but like, just give Leon Edwards a shot.
Like, welterweight is what I don't think it's a dead division by any means. Like, yes, Usman is dominant, but there's one guy that can really threaten him, and in Colby Covington. I'm really looking forward to that fight, and I'm gonna put money on Colby. But we'll get into that.
Actually, you know what? I agree with you. I'm a big. His personality you need to take his personality
separate
away.
the art and the artist.
Definitely. And he's such a talented fighter. Like, he has cardio for days. It was a close fight before Usman finished him in, I think it was the 4th or 5th round, and broke his jaw. And he's tough as nails. So I think I can see the fight going to Colby if they had a rematch. But saying it's a dead division, I can see that, but you have Leon Edwards to play.
Vicente Luque coming up as well.
Just dominating guys. You have Khamzat. You have him. You know, the UFC is building. You have the UFC building these guys, and you know, with Khamzat, it's I don't know what's gonna happen. Is he gonna weather the storm of the top 15, top 10? Because it's a very tough weight class to dominate. So I can see it being a little bit dead, but you know, I would like to see a champion change there, and I would like to see if Colby is champion again. I would love that.
That would revive the division
in
one night.
Yeah.
Colby Covington beats Usman.
And now with Lawler also, okay, well, that was a middleweight fight.
Yeah.
That Lawler beating Diaz, and he didn't look, well, he looked very aggressive,
Yes.
and I think he gets tagged or even finished by better guys in the welterweight division. But if he wants to cut down to welterweight as well, they are fun matchups for him.
Put him against the other Diaz.
That's
against
a
Max.
fun place. Let him take out the Diaz army.
Absolutely. One by one.
Yeah.
Then we have, I was convinced until this recent fight that Ryan Hall could beat Habib. That's one at 1,000 afterwards.
Yeah, that's a
That's very hard.
you know, well, if you match, maybe a grappling match. Yeah, I think no, I don't think so. Like Khabib is just too dominant.
Next one, we have knees and kicks should be allowed on the ground to stop wrestlers from stalling. Basically, bring back Pride rules with grounded knees and grounded kicks. What are your opinions on grounded?
That's the same thing we chatted about with the oblique kicks. And I understand you want to bring it back. I understand the dangers of that as well.
Yes.
It depends on. We see the UFC also moving now into. There was like a phase where it was super dominant wrestlers and they dominated. But now you see wrestlers do well in stand-up. Just look at Volkanovski. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
He did phenomenally well on the feet against Ortega. And
I mean, he was throwing leg kicks that I thought. I don't know. I don't know how Ortega got through those calf kicks. That would.
I think if the dominant run of wrestling had to continue, then yes, bring in a rule that might help guys that are not that good at wrestling. But these guys are finding counters to every single move. So I don't think it's needed. I like the oblique kicks. I think they need to stay.
Obliques definitely.
If they change the rules to soccer kicks and you're allowed to knee on the ground, I think you'll see a lot more finishes.
Yeah.
Most definitely you'll see a lot more finishes. But also if you're the company, if you're the UFC and you want to preserve these guys, then don't bring it back.
Yeah, well, first, CTE is bad enough already.
Yeah.
You really don't need soccer kicks. It just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Pride rules. Like I know a lot of hardcore fans. Oh, pride rules, but I'm really not the biggest fan.
The shake, yeah. So speaking about the shake, I heard you had a little bit of an anger outburst. Because you paid your DAZN subscription and you were watching the boxing.
Boxing, ladies and gentlemen, boxing. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. First, so let's take it as a whole. Firstly, the Anthony Joshua Usyk fight. That was great.
Great fight.
Great fight.
Yeah, great fight.
Usyk, fantastic. That was really nice. I watched the whole thing and I was entertained. The rest of the card. Now we're gonna get. So there was this fight. I think it was Hatton versus Martinez. Hatton was dominating. Oh no, sorry. Martinez was dominating.
Yeah.
Like you could have a child sitting next to the ringside and you would ask him, "Ooh, Sonny, which one is winning?" And we go, Martinez.
Yeah.
And they gave Hudson the scorecard. Like Hutton is a hot prospect. He's got 4-0. Martinez is 2-4. So you know they were trying to just feed him a tomato can.
Yeah.
And be like, oh yo, up and coming. Oh.
Yeah.
And yes, that was an absolute robbery.
I didn't see the fight, but just seeing your outrage, I think. Well, I watched the highlights of the DAZN whole event this morning, and just one of the commentators also said it was a robbery. It was a proper robbery.
Yeah.
So we can see the boxing is also known for not being that legit.
Yeah.
You know, there's corruption and there's guys paying off other guys, paying off judges. So. And it's slowly killing the sport, I think, really.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of people that feels the same way you are. They want to cancel their subscription because it's just...
Boxing is losing out to the UFC because it's they don't have any legitimacy. Well, they have a legitimacy, but you know what I mean in legitimacy. Like it's not a straightforward, okay, this guy, the best guy is fighting the best guys, the best guy being the champion. It's not that sport anymore. Like,
well, there is also a lot of politics, a lot of money that goes into it. So, like just looking at the pay gap between boxers and UFC fighters, it's just insane. Speaking about that
I'm just gonna hold you on 1
Yeah.
second more and just go back just to boxing again. Anthony Joshua obviously lost that fight last night. We can't, how? And now suddenly it's like, no, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua isn't gonna happen. Why not? Why can't this fight happen? Why does it need to be for the unified championships?
Yeah.
Why can't you just, as in we see it in MMA all the time, that superstars fight superstars with no belt on the line. I mean, we saw Poirier and McGregor. If you really, if MMA was like boxing, you would see McGregor fighting for the belt every single time against. It's ridiculous. Boxing is turning into a circus. I mean, the show, they took a UFC main card is about 3 hours long, give or take, usually less. This card was 4 hours and 20 minutes long, and then they started boxing the main event for 5 fights. I mean, this is why you're losing people. It's
a great thing if you guys are having like a dinner and there's people and you can just spot the highlights while you are with people. But if you're a fight fan and you're sitting down and watching the UFC is fun because the fights just go. You have commentary in between, but it's also not. It doesn't take half a day to watch the whole fight card.
No one has who has an hour between the co-main and main to just look at a panel sitting. Okay, great stuff. That's basically what we're doing. But do it after the fight.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes. Okay. Or have a prelim card or something. Just more fights, please.
Yeah. Especially if you're packing 70,000 people into a stadium.
Yeah, no goodness. As you were saying.
You feel better now.
I feel better now.
Okay, so that World Fight League, I saw a big boo-ha about it on social media. A lot of people were sharing the news. Ariel Rouhani was also sharing quite a lot. I don't know anything about it. I didn't read up on it. I know there's like a pay structure they want to do.
So for the people that don't know, it's basically a new MMA promotion, worldwide promotion that a few wealthy investors, they didn't give names of who's behind this, but Al-Wani is involved, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But anyway, basically the idea is giving a bigger share to the fighters and having doing it like a league system. So basically it's all going to be, I think, like brackets. You have like a French team and a Belgian team and an American team.
Oh, so nationality
comes into play with it. And then these guys compete against each other.
So basically Olympic Games of MMA.
Almost. And then they want to do it like the bracket system, the playoffs and stuff like that. How do you feel about the league system? That they basically take away money fights. They would take away, like Poirier and McGregor wouldn't happen under those.
Well, we just chatted about the boxing. And that's the same. People have asked me as well, would you like for MMA to become an Olympic sport? And then I told them no, because then there's too many voices. There's too many opinions, and that's exactly what's happening in boxing. Is you have these promoters, you have the matchmakers, you have the different organizations.
And no one can agree to anything.
And everyone has a say. So now to go out and make fun fights, it's not possible. The UFC is like the Cowboys, and they're like, sure, let's do Nick Diaz and Lawler to 17 years after the first match.
The UFC gets a lot of criticism for being run like a monarchy, with Dana White is king and what he says goes. And on one side, you do want to give more power to the fighters and stuff, and yes, definitely, like pay them more, give them a bigger share of the revenue. Because it is small right now. It's like 12%. Give them a bigger share of the revenue. But I love the way the UFC is run. I mean,
and also it's not like people are complaining a lot about that. But if you put on a show, you put on a performance, and you climb the ranks, you do get well sought after. Like they take care of you. It's not like you are struggling to. Well, a lot of guys are struggling to pay rent. Is that their own fault? Maybe. Is it the UFC's fault? Maybe. But
is it the cost of living in the country? If you're a South African in the UFC, you're not going to struggle. You're going to be fine.
I think you're okay.
You're definitely not going to. You're going to have like you're going to be set up in South Africa. But the thing is, when you get to America, those guys, But I mean,
must say, like, when I saw the world fight, and that's also the reason why I didn't look into it. I didn't read the articles. I saw like quick recaps of basically what it is. But you can also not take something serious and get excited about something that is. They said they wanted to start in like 2023 or something.
Yes.
Why talk about it now?
That's true.
Do your first event, get some ex-UFC fighters or one champions or whatever you want to do, but do that first so people can see that.
Put on a show.
Maybe it is an answer to better fighter pay, but I also think that if that happens, that the UFC will step their game up as well.
Absolutely.
Like they are the titans of the sport.
And that's the beauty of it. I mean, the more the World Fight League pays people, the more the UFC is going to pay people, the more South African promotions are going to pay their people.
Well, you see that now as well. You see people that are willing to move over to other organizations just because of pay.
Fighter pay, yes.
And the UFC, they pay well, but for some athletes, there's better pay in the PFL.
Especially for entry-level athletes.
Exactly. So it's cool to see where the sport is going, because you don't see in 10 years time you might not have a kid say my dream is to become a UFC fighter, but my dream is to be
a general MMA fighter,
to feed my family just by fighting.
I want to make a living doing MMA.
And that's why it's also very important for promoters and for companies like Bellator and One is doing very well, Bellator is doing well, to have them boost the talent they have, so that you have these fans, gravitate towards those platforms. So that I like seeing people get paid more, especially athletes, especially MMA fighters, because they put a lot on the line. So if the World Fight League puts pressure on the UFC to pay their athletes more, then great.
I think the World Fight League, in my opinion, I think it's going to be less pressure on the UFC and more, it's going to be so much pressure on regional organizations. Especially here in South Africa. We have one organization here and they're not the best.
They're not that bad.
I don't want to talk too bad about your employer, but I think the World Fight League could really put pressure on those guys to also step up their game and get talent in and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like I said, I want to see them do practicalities first before getting
Absolutely.
So, but we'll see.
Yes.
If they have the investors they say they have, it should turn out to be a success.
I would love it. Like more MMA, please.
How long do you think it takes for Giga Chikadze to become champion?
Does he
like
beat
that?
Volkanovski? That's the big thing.
Definitely. That guy is
Can Giga wrestle?
Insane.
Can Giga wrestle?
Yes.
As well as Volkanovski?
Enough to keep it standing. He is.
I thought I just converted you to a Volk fan this morning.
No, definitely. I wasn't that big of a Volk fan before this fight. Watching this fight, I was really impressed. I was impressed with his stand-up, his durability. But man,
Giga is a problem. He is a good.
How do you see them match up? Do you see, do you put Chikadze and Ortega against each other, and Yair and Max, and then you have both of
Ortega versus Giga would actually be a really bad matchup for Giga.
That's a proper grappler versus striker.
That is
matchup.
And general knowledge tells you, as you said last week, my money goes on the better wrestler.
Well, that's the thing.
But Giga is such a good striker.
Yes, he's such a good striker.
So I think that's a fight to make. Ortega versus Giga.
I think Yair and Max, the winner fights Volk again. And then depending on who wins there, I think Ortega, Giga, I think if they fight each other, they fight the champion. That sets it up well. But man, that Chikadze, he's so impressive. I've been watching his fights the whole week again. It's a crazy fight.
Is he your hottest prospect in the UFC right now?
I think he's technically the best fighter coming into the ranks.
Okay.
Most definitely. The technique on that guy is insane.
He's really, really good. I mean, he put on a class against Edson. They were going back and forth, but when he got him,
Mad. And we have Thiago Santos Johnny Walker. We have that next.
Battle of the
Battle
of the most hated.
Battle of the Brazilians in Brazil. I would like to know who are Brazilians backing.
That's an interesting question.
They are very patriotic. So
Absolutely.
They back their country, and you've seen
Brazilians not really wanting to fight Brazilians.
And you've seen Brazilians lose in Brazil, and then their opponents getting a lot of flack, getting stuff thrown at them.
You've had legends like Chael Sonnen
and Colby Covington having to be escorted with police. So if you have two Brazilians,
who do you take? I don't know. I think the general consensus is people don't like Santos, people don't like Walker.
Really?
I think people don't like Walker.
Santos's fight against John Jones. It was John Jones?
I think so.
Yes.
It was a while back.
That was a crazy fight. And
Santos can bang.
He does. It's going to be an interesting fight to see. I think Santos is much stronger than Johnny Walker.
Absolutely.
I think he has better stand-up technique. He's a good grappler as well. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so it's going to be a cool fight. Looking forward
absolutely
to that. But
it's not the best card ever.
Yeah, it's not a great card.
And then I don't think there's much going on in other promotions as big fights go.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we saw Canelo basically win a fight before the fight. I think we'll pull that small video up on the screen as well. But I think Plant said something about his mom.
Yes.
I think they were squaring off, and I think he just called him something, and then said something about his mom, and then you see that slap, and then I think he slapped him.
Was it a slap or was it a hook?
I think it was a slap, and he got him cut.
Got it cut. That's what I think it was a hook.
That was from his glasses. That was not from the punch. So I think the glass. I think he hit his glasses and he cut his cheek.
Bet the house on Canelo.
He's going to be such a major favorite as well. It doesn't even help. But
minus 1,000.
That must be the worst way to know that you're going to lose a fight.
Absolutely.
He didn't even expect that punch and he couldn't hit him. So that was quite funny as well. Seeing that, I had a good chuckle, and Plant is screwed. I think.
Caleb Plant right now, I would be thinking, how can I get out of this fight? How can I pull an Aljamain Sterling and just excuse myself from the conversation?
I think it's just like,
Did you see Aljamain pull out of the fight against Jan?
Yeah, and Peter Jan called it as well.
Yeah, he did.
Said, I think a few months back he said this chicken is going to pull out, and he did. That's going to be, I don't know.
Why did he pull out though? There is the reason. Aljamain has had a lot of issues with his back and stuff. It's not a good look. It really isn't a good look for Aljamain.
Well, you see inactive guys getting cut as well.
Yes.
Well, he is the champion.
They're not going to cut their champion. I think they need to make that.
But it doesn't put you in the good books as well.
No, absolutely not.
So
absolutely not.
But
there's an interim belt being discussed. It looks like Corey Sandhagen versus Peter Yan.
I love that fight. I love it. I think that's a very dangerous fight for Peter Yan as well. But man, Peter is such a good fighter.
He is so good.
He's so dangerous.
I was almost extremely outraged. My temper almost flared because I was like, Sandhagen?
Yeah.
Where's Dillashaw? But I mean, he's injured.
We can also chat days about that fight. Sandhagen won that fight. He did.
I don't know if it's my personality. I promise I'm not doing it on purpose. But I like some guys that are not necessarily loved by the MMA community. I was a big Volkanovski fan.
It's one thing to love a guy. Did he win that fight?
I'm a Dillashaw fan. I'm a massive Dillashaw fan.
Did he win the fight?
Yeah, I think he did win the fight. Yes.
Okay.
Dillashaw is a killer. I like him. And I would like to. I would have loved to see him against Peter Yan, but I mean, the man's his knees are absolutely messed up.
Well, to do a Sandhagen Peter Yan fight for an interim title makes sense.
Great fight.
Makes very sense. Sean O'Malley threw his name in the mix. He hasn't fought the top guys.
I'm not going to call them tomato cans, but he's fought lower ranked opponents.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we saw now in this past card as well that Dasvili, he fought Marlon Moraes.
Yes.
He also got a finish, so that he propelled himself also in the talks. making Sandhagen Peter Yan, I think that's the best thing for the bantamweight division. And then having the winner of those then unify the belts.
Unify the belts, and after the belts are unified, the first title shot needs to go to Dillashaw.
I think that's
very
he deserves well, debatable if he deserves it, but that makes sense.
That makes sense
to make that.
As the rankings go,
Yeah.
that fight makes sense. I mean, he's the not the number one, he's the number 2 contender because Peter Yan is obviously number 1. Oh, there was something.
But you also have Rob Font, you have Cody Garbrandt, so
yes,
there's a lot of play you can play around with that.
Put someone like Sean O'Malley against a bigger name that's a little bit lower ranked, like a Cody Garbrandt.
They wanted to do Frankie Edgar.
Frankie Edgar would also be a good fight. But I mean, Cody Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley, that's a good fight. It's a big name.
That's
it puts him into contention.
Battle of the tattoos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Sean wins that fight.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
I really think he wins that fight.
Okay.
I think Garbrandt, yes, he's a good boxer.
I think Garbrandt gets reckless, and
He does.
I think Sean has the accuracy to catch him.
Yes. As we saw again. I mean,
that's a hard
if
fight.
we look at the Dillashaw versus Cody fights, yes, he was really, really emotional. Garbrandt was really emotional going into that. But I mean, Dillashaw hit that head kicks, and Sean O'Malley, that man can kick as well.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be an interesting
it'll be a
fight.
good fight.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
There's a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
2021 is great.
Not really the next 3-5 fights.
4 weeks.
Like there's cool fights,
Yes.
and we'll chat about that on a later stage. But
2021 is a good year to be a fight fan.
it
Absolutely.
is most definitely not if you're a boxing fan.
Not if you're a boxing fan. Well, the 21st century hasn't been a good time to be a boxing fan. It has had big fights here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Mayweather.
And if you're a Jake Paul fan, you love boxing.
Oh yes, Jake Paul's the biggest name in boxing.
It's scary because he is.
He is. He's one of the biggest names.
It gives me a sour taste in my throat, but
boxing's such a circus. What's another clown?